Good evening, everyone. A council worker is fighting for life in hospital after being crushed by a tree while working at Launceston's Cataract Gorge this afternoon. The 51-year-old sustained serious injuries when the tree fell on him from behind, pinning him to the ground.
This is where the council worker was pinned to the ground in what's being called a freak accident. Emergency services were called to the Launceston Gorge Reserve this afternoon, finding the council worker crushed under the tree. They worked to free the 51-year-old as quickly as possible, utilising his council ute, but significant damage had already been done.
The large tree you can see behind me has collapsed roots and all, and without warning. There was a second council worker with the injured man. She's been treated for shock and some minor abrasions only.
It's understood he was working on a drain at the time when the tree fell on him from behind.
It's a surprising, unexpected, freakish event, and you got to feel for the person who was caught in it. There's nothing I think they could have done to avoid it, and they were just very unlucky.
Strong winds are being blamed for uprooting the tree, with a full investigation now underway. WorkSafe Tasmania and forensic officers examined the area today. Tonight he's currently undergoing treatment after being flown to the Royal Hobart Hospital. The full extent of his injuries is still being assessed. Sean McComish, 7 Tasmania News.
A leading economist is pushing for a shake-up of Tasmania's taxation and a bolder approach to infrastructure projects. Saul Eslake now says our economy is the best it's been in a decade, but continuing growth is threatened if our state doesn't plan for the future.
Healthcare, manufacturing, mining and construction are the stars of Tasmania's economy, described today with the release of the TCCI Tasmania report as the national leader for economic growth.
Tasmania is experiencing its strongest economic growth in nearly a decade, that growth is broadly based across nearly all of Tasmania's industry sectors.
But Tasmania is facing the growing pains, increasing traffic congestion, housing affordability issues and stretched health services. This leading economist calling for more bold investments for the future.
So that the housing system, the transport system is actually able to accommodate the growth in population and economic activity that has the potential to improve all of our positions.
There's a range of investment we think needs to be made now in ensuring all Tasmanians can participate. So that includes affordable housing, it includes transport systems that help people get to where the jobs are.
Saul Eslake says we should be taking advantage of economic growth with a revamp of taxation.
I'd like to see a higher proportion of employers paying payroll tax but at lower rates. In the same way, ultimately, I think it would be a desirable reform to replace stamp duties with a more broadly based land tax.
Payroll tax is a tax on employing people. It's a crazy tax, and it was one of those taxes that was supposed to have been taken out nationally with the GST changes, but no state ever did.
Small businesses aren't a fan of the idea, and both major parties aren't committing to it.
We take great interest in what he has to say, but our government won't be introducing any new taxes. We've consistently said that, but we are open to advice and the observations of people like Saul Eslake.
They are not taking advantage of the situation that they are in, and they need to be doing that to ensure that Tasmanian businesses can benefit, but also Tasmanian households can benefit.
Michael Breen, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmanian women have joined 16 days of national action against gender violence. Women from various employment sectors protesting against sexual harassment in the workplace. KIRSTY works in hospitality and says she's been groped by customers.
Working in hospitality, it is a constant battle not to be touched by customers. Every time you've got your hands full, they think that it's okay to grab you.
One of the things that we know from a recent survey that we did is only somewhere between 17 and 20% of women actually report it. And the main reason they don't report it is they are still fearful of what will happen to them in their employment.
Unions Tasmania says 1 in 2 women experience sexual harassment in the workplace. It's urging them to share their stories with the Human Rights Commission's national inquiry. Tasmanians have a new place to report child safety concerns. The government launching the Strong Families Safe Kids Advice and Referral Service, a 24-hour phone line. It brings together government and non-government services, including child safety.
When they call in, there will be all of the skills needed to understand and respond to that concern, however minor or however acute it might be. And that's the beauty of this system.
Parents and children can also contact the service for help on 1800 000 123. A man who allegedly caused a 12-hour siege in Prospect last month has faced the Launceston Magistrates Court. Kane Robert Richardson has pleaded not guilty to resisting police, possession of a firearm and causing a fire with intent to injure property. Today the court heard the standoff saw the deployment of police special operations, firefighters and paramedics. He was remanded to appear in the Launceston Supreme Court in February. Cradle Mountain could see even more construction on the way, with details of a new $20 million hotel revealed. Launceston-based architecture firm S Group is making a bid to build the 62-bedroom high-end accommodation, but the project still faces hurdles.
This is what a $20 million hotel looks like. 62 bedrooms sitting alongside one of Tasmania's biggest tourism drawcards.
The land has been owned by my family for around 12 years. We run another business at Cradle Mountain as well, McDermott Coaches, and we were looking for something to do with the land because it takes in terrific views of Cradle Mountain.
The site is just outside the national park boundary and demand is high. Other accommodation nearby is already running at 90% occupancy throughout the year. A night here could cost visitors anywhere from $500 to $1,500. Developers insist it will have little environmental and visual impact.
The whole idea is it's not going to be dominant. You barely see it from the road as you come past. Once you're actually up on the site, each site has been selected individually, so the accommodation units are actually nestled within the landscape.
I don't think this development will change. I think it really speaks to Cradle Mountain and it speaks to Tasmania.
A development application is yet to pass through the Kentish Council. It's not the only major project taking place at the mountain. The state government is still pushing ahead with the cableway and new visitor area at Dove Lake. Sean McComish, 7 Tasmania News.
A severe weather warning has been cancelled, but not before Tasmania was battered with strong winds today. The alert had been issued for the Furneaux Islands, northeast, central north and central plateau. Meanwhile, it might be the first week of summer, but that hasn't stopped snow falling on Tasmania's mountains. The sun was nowhere to be seen at Ben Lomond yesterday, with this footage showing a frosty afternoon at the Alpine Hotel. With the busy Christmas period in full swing, the RACT is urging motorists to be aware of assistant workers helping those stuck on Tasmanian roads. The state's peak motoring body has reported an increase of near misses in the past few weeks involving drivers not paying attention.
Our roadside workers take a lot of due care, but unfortunately if people around them are distracted, there is the chance that there could be an incident occur on the roadside.
Children and pedestrians are also more vulnerable as the traffic increases. Marine and Safety Tasmania is urging boaties to check their equipment this summer as part of a new safety campaign. Only 3% of inflatable life jackets in the state are serviced regularly, and officials say faulty devices can lead to deaths.
Making sure this life-saving gear is up to scratch. Only 2,500 life jackets out of around 80,000 statewide are serviced regularly, posing potentially fatal risks.
Tragically, we've had people go into the water and not make it out wearing their inflatables, and those life jackets just haven't worked as they should.
That's the message in MAST's latest campaign, encouraging all gear to be checked before jetting off this summer.
Certainly the Christmas, New Year break, we've seen a lot of fatalities over that period in the past, so we're really asking this year that people just sit back, think about their decision making and make the right decisions, because there are no second chances.
You know, a good way to do it is to just self-check, so you can check the bottle, you can check the bladder by inflating it yourself, and then the manufacturer has guidelines as to how often you should send it back for a service, but I'd be recommending that you do it at least annually.
While the campaign also offers advice to those buying old second-hand boats.
they're probably going to be rotten, they're probably going to be cracked, they're probably going to break. So, you know, they need a fair bit of work and some time and some money. If you're prepared to put the time and the money in, you'll get a very good boat out of it, but don't be sort of sucked into thinking that you're getting a cheap boat.
Ruby COMMANE, 7 Tasmania News.
2 Tasmanian school students have dared to lop their locks, shaving their heads in memory of a close friend. Brothers Chaz and Kai raising money for Camp Quality to help children who've been affected by cancer.
It took brothers Chaz and Kai 10 months to grow their hair this long, but today they faced the clippers head on.
Because we were fundraising money for Camp Quality when one of our friends passed away earlier this year.
The pair bidding their locks farewell in memory of a dear friend.
She had a brain tumour. We'd always wanted to do something, so it gave us more of a reason to do it.
When Piper was diagnosed with cancer, her family was told she had 12 months to live. Sadly, she passed away just 2 weeks later.
She was a bubble of joy herself, like, you know, she wouldn't expect anything like this, but would be, yeah, thrilled to, which I'm sure she's watching from above.
For Piper's family, the day is one which stirred many emotions.
The support and stuff we've had is amazing. They're just, you know, for these to do this for her is just unbelievable.
The entire school held their breath as Piper's own sisters did their best for a clean shave. The result? The school also unveiled a permanent tribute to Piper, this memorial wall created by the students.
If we can use her kind of as an example to help other kids to realise and that these things happen, but with family support, friend support, you can get through.
Judy Augustine, 7 Tasmania News.
A photo display and expo opened in Hobart today to increase awareness and understanding of people living with a disability. The pictures displaying the experiences of children with visual impairments accompanied with a braille image, while the expo showcased new technology and activities for those with all abilities.
I think today is all about, you know, getting people to realise that people with disabilities can get out there and do everything, and it's more about focusing on ability, not what you can't do, but what you can do.
The event was held for International Day of People with a Disability. A community has turned out to honour a remarkable Red Cross volunteer as she celebrated her 100th birthday. Ulverstone's Maisie Pike has spent 60 years of her life giving back, and she says she's not done yet.
100 years young, Ulverstone's Maisie Pike has spent most of her life giving back to the community. When she offered a helping hand to the Red Cross 60 years ago, she was inspired by her brother.
He was taken prisoner of war, you know, on Timor, and that encouraged me to help.
Over the years, she's actually done a lot of work for World War II. She did a lot of sewing, a lot of knitting. I think 400 odd garments were knitted and sent away to the soldiers.
Now the Ulverstone community is celebrating her achievements just days after her 100th birthday.
It is very much an achievement. I don't know of anybody else that's been in the Red Cross all that time.
The family say they couldn't be prouder. Maisie's nephew David naming a daffodil after her.
This was one I chose that I thought would, you know, just encompass her, you know, and a lovely pink, soft pink colour, and it reminded me of Maisie.
Even after 60 years, Maisie says she has no plans of slowing down.
I'm okay, I'm not on any medication. It takes me a bit of pain in my knees, but I've got to keep going, I'd be in a wheelchair.
And her secret to a long, happy life? It all comes down to diet.
I have plenty of fruit and vegetables, and I look after myself. I don't eat very much junk food, just occasionally.
Judy Augustine, 7 Tasmania News.
Now let's take a look at the day's business and finance news with thanks to Tasplan, your local super fund. The Australian share market surged higher following a 90-day truce on tariffs between the US and China, with energy and mining stocks recording significant gains. The ASX 200 index rose 104 points. A short time ago, the Australian dollar was trading at 73.6 US cents and 64.86 euro cents.
Rising cricket star Erin Fazakali says she's happy to continue opening the batting for the Hobart Hurricanes if required. The all-rounder was thrown in the deep end during the Canes' 6-wicket loss to the Perth Scorchers on Saturday, with internationals Hayley Matthews and Heather Knight unable to play. But the 20-year-old stepped up, belting 38 runs off 16 balls.
The coach made the call to tell me that morning rather than the night before, so I didn't get the chance to get too nervous, which I think was a good decision. So yeah, it was a bit of a shock to me that morning. I found out, but it was good news and it was pretty exciting for me.
The WBBL action makes its way to the northwest coast this weekend, with the Canes taking on the Melbourne Stars at Burnie's West Park on Saturday and Sunday. He's shaping up as one of the most talented boxers Tasmania has produced in years, having just claimed his 4th Australian title in a row. And at the age of just 16, chances are you'll be hearing a lot more about Sebastian Wells in the future. Outside the ring, Sab Wells is as unassuming and polite as any teenager you're likely to meet. Inside the ring, it's a different story.
I just love getting in there and just having a bit of a chess match, obviously a bit more of a physical chess match.
The 16-year-old breezed through the elimination rounds of the weekend's Australian amateur titles in Hobart, going on to dominate in a welterweight gold medal fight and claim his 4th Australian title.
It just feels good every time. It's never been easy. It's just a lead way for me to get bigger, better things, and that's all I'm seeing it as at the moment.
Having only taken up the sport 6 years ago, Wells is now determined to make a run at it, with selection in the Australian team a big possibility for 2019, given his consistent results and gutsy performances on the national stage.
Representing my country is just everything that I've wanted to do since I started boxing. Obviously I want to win Australian titles as a senior. I'm a senior boxer. Going to the Olympic Games, Commonwealth Games, representing Australia in general is definitely something I want to do. And then hopefully turn professional and do big things in the future.
And despite beginning college next year and all the social temptations that are sure to follow, given his rising profile in the sport, the teen says his eyes are well and truly fixed on the prize.
Obviously it's good to celebrate, but at the end of the day, I've got the rest of my life to do that. And as a young fighter, this is what I want to do now.
You're not going to let anything hold you back from that, eh?
No.
Good evening. Cloudy, windy and unstable conditions today. Temperatures up to 9 degrees below average. Hobart and Devonport 19. Launceston along with St Helens and Friendly Beaches the top with 21. A few thunderstorms over the south and east. 23 millimetres the top fall at Warra. Scott's Peak recorded wind gusts of 124 kilometres an hour, and we've already seen the conditions from the highlands over the last couple of days along with the sleet on Cradle Valley. They also recorded 48 millimetres of rain last night and another 20 millimetres today. Flinders Island 18 degrees. King Island, Smithton and Lowhead 17. Strawn 16, Lyawini a top of just 10. Now here's the pattern today across the state as low-level convective cloud took hold in that very strong westerly airstream. The low trough brought cloud to Victoria as well, but a high maintains better conditions over southeast Australia. More cloud is through central areas and over Queensland and northern New South Wales. Tropical cyclone Owen is there over the northern Coral Sea, currently at 995 hectopascals. Now tomorrow the high moves over Tasmania while the trough continues over the mainland. A cold front approaches WA and we continue to watch Owen well off Cairns. Southwesterly winds at 20 to 30 knots, gradually easing and tending more westerly at 10 to 20 knots tomorrow. Swells at 4 metres abating. Gale warning for waters between Tasman Island and South East Cape. A strong wind warning from Stanley to Tasman Island and also from South East Cape to Low Rocky Point. A small craft wind alert for the lakes. Here's the forecast for tomorrow. Cloudy in Hobart, 19 the top, 18 for Adventure Bay. The wind's easing. A possible light shower for Tarraleah. Launceston partly cloudy and 22. 20 the top for Devonport and Bridport. Fine and just a little bit of cloud. Burnie the same, partly cloudy and 19, maybe a light shower for Strawn, 17 the top, 17 also for Marrawar, fine and partly cloudy in the east, 19 a very popular temperature. UV a high 10 for Strawn, but extreme elsewhere. On Wednesday, it'll start to look a bit better with fine sunny weather mostly. Fine and sunny again on Thursday. Hobart, Swansea and Strawn all pushing towards 30. A bit more cloud on Friday with showers developing over the west, extending across the state later in the day. 24 in Perth tomorrow. A sunny 27 in Adelaide. Cloudy for Melbourne and Sydney. And a late shower after 30 degrees in Brisbane. A little cloud over Hobart at the moment, 11 currently. Launceston fine and sunny and 16 degrees. Mostly sunny too in Devonport at the moment and 15 degrees. Wild weather at the moment, Joe. The strong winds and those high gusts and the inclement weather on the mountains will give way to temperatures near 30 degrees later in the week.
Oh, finally, that would be lovely. Thank you very much, Murph. That's all from the team. Have a lovely evening. See you a little later.